Stu's back.
Multiple goats. I stopped putting live with Charlie and Stu because we have like way more than Stu stuff going on here. Have you seen the Halloween one?
No, I have not.
Yeah, Bree has one. I found it in her office one day. I'm like, what are you doing with this? I need to have one of these. I'll have to grab it before the next show or before the Halloween anyway. But yeah, he's got like a little skeleton costume on and a little pumpkin hat. It's awesome. Huh?
It's not a pumpkin suit? Like David S. Pumpkins?
I don't think so. I think it's like a skeleton. I don't know. I'm recalling from memory from a couple weeks ago, which is not smart on my part, but yeah. So we gotta add the Halloween one. I don't need to respond to something like that. Go where? All right. Yo, YouTube. Thanks for joining us. We've got the live show tonight. My apologies last week. Things got out of hand on Wednesday and we just never really came around to it. Charlie was really busy with football and I said, hey man, I think tonight's not the night. We're not ready for this. And we kind of both agreed to just take a reload evening. And that's what we did. So appreciate everybody's patience. But we're back this week. We should be back every week going forward. And we've got some stuff to talk about. So that's even better. So I was kind of thinking to myself yesterday, what do I want to do for topics? And I just keep coming back around to non-sport cards. I don't think we've talked about them quite enough. We did hobby or no. We did a Star Wars hobby or no. And it's obviously been a topic here and there. I opened a separate store just for non-sport, things like that. But we've never really gotten into the meat of those types of cards. Now, I'm not talking TCG.
Right.
I'm talking
Pokemon.
Right. So I'm talking Star Wars movies, TV shows from the 70s, 80s, 90s,
Marvel,
2000. Yeah, Garbage Pail Kids. Yep. And I think usually when I get views or I get comments, I should say, on videos when I do like sales day videos and stuff, usually the comments I get are, I like seeing the weird stuff that you sell.
Sure.
And I thought, well, what does that mean? Like, to me, that stuff's not weird. It's cool. There's stuff I would buy. That's, a lot of times that's why I buy it. And I got to thinking that I don't think, unless you're into it, I don't think a lot of people understand really what non-sports are and what the market is. Like, I think it's kind of like if I were to, if you watch any football at all, right? And I tell you, oh, who do you think would sell well in football cards? You're going to tell me Patrick Mahomes and, Justin Jefferson, right? You're going to just go with like performance names and that would make sense, especially offensive scoring positions. But if I tell you Batman, what does that mean? Like, does that mean the Joker sells? Does that mean Penguin sells? Is it only the early 60s cards, or do the newer movie, memorabilia cards, things like that? Does that stuff have hobby? Yeah. So I thought we'd take a little bit of time tonight and just talk about non-sport stuff. I mean, we can talk about other things too, but just to kind of give us an outline on it. Charlie, Mr. Data, has scooped up some stuff for us without giving
Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, right. That Data? That's Data, isn't it? Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, they do call him Data.
And Data from Goonies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so he's gotten some information for us, some graphs and charts and those kinds of super fun things that we all love to look at, to give us some kind of idea of what non-sport does. I'm hoping this will help some of you. It's a good reminder for me. When I'm digging through boxes, I always have to keep in mind, well, does this stuff, like, is there buyers for this stuff? Yeah. Even if I think it's cool. Obviously, if you can get anything cheap enough, you can kind of go with it. But so I think we're just going to start right there. We don't really have any chat in here yet. I'm just going to ignore Ryan.
I was going to say, what do you mean we don't have chat in there? That's my guy, Ryan.
It's not even a quiet. It's not even a question, it's a statement, and it's a poorly worded one. It should be go home Brewers, not go Brewers, but
Playoffs
so
clinched.
huh?
Playoffs clinched.
No, well, that doesn't mean anything. You still got to win in there.
First team to clinch them. Best team in baseball.
All right. All right. Let's go into some non-sport looks right away and kind of talk about some of that stuff and see what it looks like. I'm going to let you drive the train on this one. You're the one who put a lot of this together. And I know you've got your screens up already. After this, I want to talk a little bit about CDP because it does kind of relate to this and some success I had in the non-sport area on CDP. I don't want to do that now. I want to start with this. So Charlie, if you want to go ahead and kind of take it away and show us what you got. I'm going to get some pistachios and relax and just watch you go.
Wonderful pistachios.
They're delicious.
Well, I think, the first thing I want to reemphasize, Adam mentioned it before as we got into the open there, is we want to make sure we're clear that when we say non-sports, we are not talking TCG. That's a category all on its own. So we didn't really factor.
Well, how'd that get on there?
Wait,
Oops.
How come Ryan doesn't get up there, but Bo gets up there with his Cubs clincher?
I don't know how it happened. It's got to be the bots. Weird. There's an algorithm that wants the Cubs on there. Yeah, I think it's the algorithm.
So, we started looking at kind of what are some of the trends in the non-sport markets and what does the sales data on eBay show us? And I don't think it's overly surprising. I think you would find some of the names you would expect to find out there. But you guys know I like the saying, let's go from feels to reels and prove out some of the things we think are true. So I did spend a little bit of time looking at sales volume in non-sports sets and franchises to see what are some of the leaders in the non-sport categories, and a top 5 emerged pretty quick. I'll throw that up here right now. These are the top 5 in sales and volume on eBay this year. And I apologize, this chart's a little bit wonky the way they choose to list it. I got a little help making the graphics to speed things up, and probably not how I would have laid it out, but
yeah, it confused me. It looks like movies and TV tie-ins is the bigger one, but it's once I turned it around in my head. Yeah. It's like it's flipped around. It should go like almost the other way or something.
Yeah. So from bottom to top are the rankings. So number 1 there is Star Wars. And again, this is just a ranking. This isn't representing what the sales are. This is just 1 through 5. What are the top non-sport trading card well, look at that. We even got a title on there for you. You can read it for yourself. But what are the top selling and highest volume and highest revenue type of cards? And I don't think anybody would be overly surprised at Star Wars at the top. I mean, Adam and I talk about that a lot. It really dominates the category, and for a few reasons. One is it has multiple releases a year, so it stays fresh with what's coming out. And it has some higher end offerings too, right? Like they've got a chrome line, they've got high tech, and then they do some really high end inserts and autos and things like that. The other reason is it's got a massive collector base, and you need that if you're going to move a lot of cards. And then you got that chase with like I said, those autos, those sketch cards, things like that. It gives you something to go after, and that really pushes a lot of volume in that Star Wars franchise to make it far and away the number 1 name in non-sports cards. I mean, you're a long-time Star Wars fan, Adam. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they make really good products. The cards always look really nice. You know my opinions on Panini versus Topps, so that's kind of an easy victory for Star Wars in that light, that it's produced by a manufacturer that puts in quality work. They always have good inserts, refractors and all kinds of short print stuff, and like you said, autos of some major actors. It's still relevant. I mean, Star Wars came out the year I was born, and they're still making new Star Wars today. So there's plenty of characters and different movies, TV shows, cartoons, you name it, they've done it. One of my favorite cards recently, just a little sidebar here, but the Topps Star Wars 30th anniversary set has a couple cards in it from the holiday special. And I just love that because the George Lucas has always kind of just denied it, that its existence, which of course it exists. It's got B. Arthur in it, man. Come on.
Yeah.
And it's just always kind of been turned away as like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And then it's like, to see cards made in a product just made me smile. Life Day with, why does some of the Wookiees wear pants and some don't? Like, what's going on there? But it just has such a, like you said, it's such a solid following. They know they're going to have collectors. They're going to have buyers of the product. So they make good stuff. They make some slightly lower end products, and then they make a bunch of, like Star Wars Masterworks, right? Is a peak, top of the line product. It's a few $100 a box. You only get a few cards. Yeah. But you get some nice numbered stuff, really nicely done, thick card stock, good autos. We bought Star Wars boxes at the National, for the silver pack. And the box was amazing. It had this nice padded box that it came in, and cards were really cool, some numbered stuff. I got a really nice auto, Lars Mikkelsen, who plays now I can't think of his name. The blue guy. What's his name? The blue He's got blue skin.
Oh, Admiral Thrawn, right?
Thrawn, yeah. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Yeah. And that's a great auto. I mean, that's a well-known actor, great role, huge character in Star Wars. I mean, when you can pull stuff like that, that's very encouraging versus some of your odds of getting like good players in sports and things like that. So if you're a fan of that stuff, I think there's a lot to be said. I had way more fun ripping non-sports stuff at the National than I ever did ripping sports stuff. And we did Garbage Pail Kids. We did Disney. We did all 5 of these basically things that are on this list here. So they really all make sense in where they land. Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised Garbage Pail Kids is ahead of Disney, but that's about the only flip, and I'm guessing they're close. Like, I don't think there's vast differences between the two. And Garbage Pail Kids has been super hot recently, with the 40th anniversary stuff coming out and that. So I think that might have kind of put it over the top.
There are some differences in the characteristics of how they differ in volume versus revenue, and we'll get to that a little bit later as well, because I find that information as well. There are certain ones here that do really well revenue wise, but maybe don't sell as much volume, and there's some that are the opposite, and there are some that do both, right? So so we'll come to that in a little bit. Marvel and comic based ones like DC, that in number 2, I had to think about that a little bit, because I intuitively I didn't feel like they're that big of a deal. But then I started thinking about all the different sets that fall into that category. Yeah. And there's a lot. It is a big collector base again, and long-term history on those Marvel and comic sets. So that's one of those that I think maybe doesn't have the impact of Star Wars, but there's a big background behind it that drives up a lot of sales.
Yeah, and that one really doesn't surprise me at all. I saw a ton of Marvel stuff. Even when I look at like Disney releases, a lot of it is Marvel. Because I mean, if you think about it, Marvel is Disney, right? I mean, it goes actually, so is Star Wars for that matter.
Star Wars, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But of my non-sport like regular, I know I can sell this stuff, a lot of is Marvel characters. You know, Wolverine, Silver Surfer, Galactus is a big seller for me. Trying to think of some other characters that are really Spider-Man, any of the Spider-Man. So you got like Black Suit Spider-Man, Carnage, you know, Venom, all those types of characters just do very, very well.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think there's probably more solid, I know I'm going to sell it characters in Marvel than there is Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah, I think the more, like, I know I for sure I can sell it Star Wars stuff is more Vader, Slave Leia,
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul.
No.
Most of the female lead characters, those are the bigger sellers. You know, Ahsoka. Yeah, Ahsoka, Padme, Leia. You know, those are like, that's kind of it. I mean, even Luke isn't necessarily a big seller, depending on what set, what card, you know, things like that. But I would say Star Wars Vintage would be number one on this list. If you're looking at just vintage products, Star Wars is the home run on that one.
And that's a good point. Dave Pearson wants to know what is best in Star Wars, vintage or modern? And I would say vintage is really chased a lot more, but modern has its place for those high-end inserts and autos and relics and things like that. But if you're looking at base cards, that vintage stuff is always hot.
Yeah, I agree. And the only reason I would say modern has some bigger place at times is because there's characters that they couldn't make in 1977. Sure. They weren't around, you know? So if you want stuff from Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian and, you know, Ahsoka and Clone Wars and that kind of stuff, well, yeah, you're not going to get that in vintage.
Sure.
But I mean, if I find a big stack of vintage Star Wars and a big stack of modern Star Wars and their base cards, yeah, I'm going, the vintage would be my first buy for sure.
Yeah.
Versus that might not be the case in sports, right? If you got a stack of common vintage and a stack of, you know, better name modern players, you know, that can be a toss up as to which way you want to go with it.
Yeah.
All things considered equal, of course. So, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, this list pretty much hit it right where I thought it would have landed. The one thing, like I said, Disney and Garbage Pail Kids, I would have thought flipped a bit, but
yeah. Well, let's talk about Garbage Pail Kids for a moment. 40 years of Garbage Pail Kids as of this year. Garbage Pails is interesting because it sells a lot, but it also sells a lot on the low end base side too. So that's where it really gets a lot of its volume from it. And I think the real draw to Garbage Pail Kids is the nostalgia of that 40 years. Like guys had them when they were kids and they're still getting them today. I know that's why I pick them up sometimes because they're just fun to go through. And it takes me back to, you know, times as a kid. Plus they have some premium hobby boxes too with some really good stuff.
The chrome stuff is really nice.
Yeah.
I really like the what's the blue cracked ice? The sapphire. The sapphire stuff looks awesome in Garbage Pail Kids. But here's the coolest part about Garbage Pail Kids, right? And you're right, it's a lot of like base cards, and even the parallels don't really go for much. It's like $1.99 for a base, or $1.99 for the booger parallel, or $1.99 for the bloody nose parallel, you know, whatever. You start getting into the numbered stuff and autos and that, obviously the prices go up, but but I'm a low end seller, so that's a perfect product for me anyway. I can get them super cheap for the most part. But what's fun is the namesake collectability in it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I'll have a Brandon come in and order 3 different Garbage Pail Kids Brandon cards, you know. I myself, I am an Atom Bomb collector. Atom Bomb is the iconic character from the original sets. You know, he was the cover art on the packs and the boxes for the first, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 series of it.
Yeah.
when you think Garbage Pail Kids, you think of the little kid in the suit sitting down with blowing his head off, with the button. Um, and it was a play off my name. I thought that made it extra fun. It was kind of the branding for the company, and it was also my name. So
Yeah.
others kind of feel that way too. I have a buddy, his name is Brad, and he collects different Brad cards. So when I kind of come across him, I'll say, "Hey man, got this one?" I'll flip him, and he'll keep the Brad and Bradley, both versions of that name cards. So I think they're just fun. I think they've gotten super hot for a couple of reasons. They've had some really nice new products. You're right, they keep the nostalgia. There's almost always an Atom Bomb card in the set, the Nasty Nick, whatever. They do a lot of like, art that was forgotten in the 80s, and they'll put out like cards that they never, got to release. And so that nostalgia piece is almost always there in every box, which I think is smart.
Yeah.
But I think we just need like some don't take ourselves too serious levity in life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Okay, yeah, it's a little kid pushing a button and blowing his head off. Like that's terrible, right?
Yep.
I mean, if you think about it in real world scenarios and all the things that are going on, and obviously I would agree with that, but we can just have some fun with it, right? We can just enjoy it and the different characters, and they do a lot of like cross licensing type stuff. So they'll do like cards that look like Batman, and and play off of that name. I just picked up an Atom out of collects because I have my collects credits. I just picked up a new card for my PC. I think I already put it in the cabinet. Yeah, I already put it in the display, but it's Brian and Peter Griffin. And Peter Griffin's bent over, and instead of the head being blown off, it's blowing out his butt. I don't even remember what the name is on it. It's Atom. I think it's Atom Boom or something like that is what it's called.
Sure.
So it's not an actual Family Guy sticker, right? It doesn't have that licensing, but you can tell who it is.
Yeah.
And I've always liked that part of it. Also, sketch cards.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want an authentic, original sketch card from a Garbage Pail Kids artist? That's awesome. Me as a kid would have died for something like that, right? So,
absolutely,
just think that they do a great job. It's kind of a never-ending source of material, right? I mean, you just take a name and you kind of flip it, and but they tie it to different pop culture things. There's the food fight set, and there's the traveling set where it's different locations, and they have the bookworm, so it's all like cards based on like Harry Potter characters and things like that. There's just so much fun stuff you can play with.
Yeah.
And just help people, at least for a moment, not take themselves so seriously and just have some fun.
Yeah. Now, Disney in the family segment there, I feel like that's more of a modern growth area. You think about Kakawow and some of the top series for Disney. I think those give some family friendly options to more casual collectors. They're not diehard sports collectors, and they're not hardcore TCG players. It kind of fits that middle ground that people can still do that with their family, and I think we've seen a lot of growth there in probably the last 10 years.
Yeah, one of the things I find really interesting about it is when I thought about it, it's not really classic Disney. It's not Bambi and Snow White, and there's that out there, but if you think about it, all the Disney products are like Buddy the Elf and Star Wars and Gremlins and
pretty modern stuff.
Wizard of Oz and like all this stuff that they've picked up over the years, Marvel stuff, Star Wars stuff, Indiana Jones, like it's all right there. So yeah, that I think that's where a big chunk of that comes from, is like really their extended properties more than anything else.
Yeah.
Now you can still sell Mickey cards, mini cards. I'll buy that stuff. 91 Impel Mickey Mouse set is a pretty good one. There's great cards in there. You know, Donald Duck. You know, those characters definitely still have hobby, if you want to call it that.
Right.
But really, I think a big part of this is, you know, Lord of the Rings is part of it, and you know, Harry Potter, and like there's some giant franchises that are truly Disney now. So it kind of gets a lot of bonus points for stuff that's not really Disney, or you know, wasn't
Yeah.
made by Disney.
Yeah. So interesting question by Odd Merchants here. He wants to know, is Chewbacca a close relative to Worf?
Well, they're not from the same planet, so that would be kind of a stretch. I don't even think they're in the same. I mean, they're not in the same universe. They're not written in the same universe. Chewbacca's from Kashyyyk. I don't even know where Worf is from, but he's a Klingon, right? So he would be.
Yes, he's a Klingon.
So is he from like is that Romulus, or I don't know? You guys are gonna roast me because I don't know my Star Trek, but no, they have some, I guess, some similar looks. You know, the large foreheads and bigger builds and things like that. But yeah, they're not the same species or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, the last category here in our top 5 are movies and TV tie-ins, and you had some success with that recently. I remember you talking about it. Things like Stranger Things, even the Kakawao Warner Brothers anniversary sets. We both have some of that.
Sonic the Hedgehog with recent movies
Sonic,
come, you know.
yeah, and even classic movie stuff when they're in commemorative issues. I mean, these tend to be kind of a smaller set of volume, but they can kind of punch above their weight when you get some of the relics and hits out of those.
Yeah, I mean, and again, a
Like
huge
a Christmas
broad,
Story dual auto.
right, just a huge broad category, right? Basically anything that's ever touched film um could really be included in that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, great properties. I tend to not just focus on like the new products that are coming out, but try to look at because it's mainly based off pop culture, right? That's where the popularity comes and goes on this stuff. So you kind of want to watch for like things that are coming out. Like Stranger Things is a great example. They've got the last season coming out. They're pumping it. It should be coming eventually. Good God.
Yeah, there's a date set for it.
There is.
Yeah.
You know, when things get kind of big and are heated and new movies are coming out, you know, I did really well with Sonic the Hedgehog for a long time with those movies coming out. Mario Brothers, right? And honestly, that's probably that I shouldn't say probably. That would be category 6 on this list would be video games.
Yeah.
Video game cards.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, Pac-Man, Nintendo stuff, you know, Zelda, Mario, Sonic, you know, any of those big game franchise type things are gonna do very well.
Yeah, for sure. Keith All agrees with us on the Stranger Things. He says, "What's up, fellas? For non-sport, I see Stranger Things picking up steam soon with the final season finally due here soon. Could be a buy right now." Absolutely, I would agree with that.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about Stranger Things products is they're way overpriced.
Yeah, they are.
You know, most TV and movie sets you can pick up a box of something newer, you know, for less than $100, and it's like some of the Stranger Things comes out and it's, you know, the high tech, right? You get one pack and it's $80 or something. I'm like, what are you doing? It's Stranger Things, you know?
Yeah.
And I know they always do a good job with the autos, you know, putting in the main characters and things like that. But I don't know. To me, it just doesn't, it doesn't hold as high a regard as some of these other properties we're talking about.
Yeah, I would agree. It'll be hot for a while and then go away, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. You almost have to be careful right now because you go, oh, this is the last season. I should go all in on this. But how long is that popularity going to last? And does it fade again? And then they're not making anymore.
Yep.
And
one of those things we'll talk about when we talk about some of the risks and weaknesses of the market to be aware of.
I mean, all those kids are like 30 years old now, aren't they? I mean, it's crazy.
Not quite 30, but
Um,
they're
I
not
look at
they're not
I look at
middle
Millie
schoolers.
Bobby Brown, and I'm like, when did you turn 40 years old? Like, she looks like strangely old for her age. I think she's only 22 or something, but
Yeah, I think she's
crazy.
trying to look old now.
Yeah, it
Well,
must be. I don't know.
let's look at it from a different angle now. Let's look at volume versus revenue impact and see where these rate out, these same five categories. And we got our StreamYard duck up there in the corner, kind of interfering with our image there. But
Huh.
so when you look at it from this perspective, I'm going to take our banner down for a second too, so you can see what we're looking at here. But so on the bottom, we're looking at the volume sold, and along the side, we're looking at the revenue, and we're kind of trying to see where do they fall in terms of volume and revenue. And these are relative numbers on here. These aren't actual, sales numbers or
Yeah.
revenue numbers. It's just representative. And you see Star Wars up there in that top right corner. That pumps out both the volume and pretty good revenue on it. And that's why we talked before about how they're kind of the undisputed king, because they can hit both of those.
Would you say it pumps up the volume?
Yes, it pumps up the volume, Adam.
Thank you.
That was amazing. So they kick out tons of product. They've got premium pricing on things. So,
Mhm.
If you're going to pick one non-sport category to jump into and try and make it a go with, Star Wars is probably your safest bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we see Garbage Pail Kids there has an interesting position, because there you'll see they actually come in like number 2 on volume,
Mhm.
but their revenue impact is lower. And we talked a little bit about that they sell a ton of units, but they're at a lower price point for a lot of it.
Yeah, I saw a ton of Garbage Pail Kids, and a lot of it is $1.99 stuff. You get into some of the some of that first series and second series stuff is really getting hot though. Like you can sell. I mean, I bought a bunch of it at the National. I found that one deal. Man, I wish I would have made a video of that pickup, because that was like one of the best pickups I ever had.
Yep.
But I bought a bunch of first series. I basically just, so this is how you find it, okay? Because it doesn't say series 1 on the sticker or anything like that. So if you know nothing about Garbage Pail Kids, what you need to look for is the year print date of 1985. If it says 1985, it's going to be first or second series, and they're all worth something.
Yep.
If they're in good condition, the same rules apply as they would any other card. But that's what I do. I just buy anything that says 1985 on it, because I don't know all the characters in the set. But even a random character you have never heard of will sell for like $10 to $12.
Yeah.
From that set. So it's you're looking at the alphas and the betas just like you would, first and second sets of any other, card game or card collectible.
Yeah.
Those would be the ones where you're going to get the better money. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'll say is a lot of the sellers, they don't realize that. They don't know Garbage Pail Kids. They don't understand what set they're from, and they don't want to spend any time on it. They just throw the Garbage Pail Kids in quarter boxes and let it go.
Yep.
So I find more opportunity there versus if you see a 1977 Luke Skywalker card, the dealer probably understands there's some value in that, and they're gonna price a little bit more accordingly. So just from the aspect of, okay, yeah, they sell for less, but you can a lot of times find. Well, look at that Blasted Billy. I found that first edition Blasted Billy. I paid a quarter for it, and I sold it for what, $66 or something like that, $63.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the nice opportunity with some of those lesser known types of card sets that do still have a huge following.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then you see the Disney or Family channel there, and the Marvel and Comics channel. Those are, again, they lag behind in one category or another. Disney, It's a little less volume and a little less revenue impact. But again, some of those rarer cards and memorabilia and autos can really drive some revenue. So it gets a little edge over Garbage Pail Kids there. And similarly with Marvel and the comics related series as well, it's driven mostly, that revenue boost there, it's driven mostly by the high end cards in there.
And I think that's one of the struggles for Garbage Pail Kids. Kind of going back to that one, you can't have memorabilia cards.
Yeah.
You can't have like main actor autos for the most part. I know they're doing that with some of the like sports crossovers. Like you sent me the Paul Skeens card.
Yeah.
Or actually, what was the name on it? It's Paul Staines or
No,
something
it's
like
like
that. I don't remember.
Blasting Skeens or something like
I
that.
don't know.
Yeah.
But we're gonna see more of that, especially with Tops. Getting a hold of everything. They can do baseball and Garbage Pail Kids and football and Garbage Pail Kids together and things like that. I think we'll see more of that. But that's what's tough for Garbage Pail Kids. It's literally just a sticker card. They can't
Smash
do anything.
Skeens. That's who it was.
Smashed
Smash
Skeens.
Skeens. Yeah.
Smashed Skeens. Which is kind of a dumb name on it. I don't understand it. What does Smash Skeens mean?
Uh, yeah, I don't know. Because he's actually, I mean, when he gets hard hit, you would call him Smash Skeens, but.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, there's Paul and there's Skeens. Like you couldn't have come up with like a play on name for that. But anyway, um, Paul Ball, Paul. I don't know. There's got to be something that. I know they make
Maybe.
the art. So with the way, if you don't know this, the way Garbage Pail Kids does it is they have the artists make the art, and then they put a name with the art. So the art's what drives it. So if someone drew Paul Skeens that way, and their naming department got it, they were probably like, I don't know, Smash Skeens sounds good. Put it out there. Somebody will buy it for $200 because it's a Paul Skeens card.
And it's a
Um,
baseball going through a sheet of glass.
right, right. Uh, which is a way that you can test speed. You can line up a bunch of plates of glass and have somebody throw a ball, and depending on how many plates it goes through, is speed and force, right? Or force times something or other is how it's measured. Anyway, I digress. I think that's what we're going to see is they're going to try to bring some of these products into each other, sports and non-sports. And that's going to make it a lot more fun as well. Now,
Yeah.
Marvel doesn't really surprise me. I thought maybe they'd be more on par with Disney as far as revenue go, or not. Excuse me, not revenue, but volume.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised on the revenue. I mean, you got some pretty big names in Marvel stuff, right? I mean, you got big name actors, you got big name comic, any of the big name comic artists are all want to do Marvel's projects.
Right.
Big name directors, like that's all there. So that makes more sense than anything else.
Yeah. And then, bringing up the rear pretty distant there, those movie and TV tie-ins. There, it's almost all about those memorabilia and auto cards. There's not a lot of people looking for base Mork and Mindy or, things like Dukes of Hazzard. I have a few of those. Or, we talked about Star Trek before. There's not a lot of base Star Trek moving, right? So it really is about those better cards you can pull out of a box, or if you come across them in a value box, sometimes that's one of your treasures that you would swipe up, right?
What's kind of tough about that though is it crosses over too, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I sell a Batman card. Well, is that a Marvel Comics card or is that a
Oh,
movies and
that's
TV tie-ins
DC.
card? Huh?
That's DC.
It's comics. It's still comics. That's Marvel
Yes, it
and
is
comics.
Yeah,
So DC would be comics. But
yeah.
then you go to like movies and TV tie-ins. Well, it's both. Like, which category does it get credited to? I don't know.
I think they go to like in that example, it would be in the comics category because that's an established comic
Because even
franchise.
like Disney, if you sell a Chewbacca card, well, that's also still Disney. You know,
Yeah, I think what they're saying here, though, is there are some franchises that are so dominant they deserve their own category.
For sure.
So any
Yeah.
Star Wars character would go in that Star Wars category, even though today it's owned by Disney.
Right.
Yeah. So you're really left with a bunch of, kind of also rans in that movie and TV tie-ins after pull even like the family one. Well, um, there's movies in there with like that Warner Brothers one, but they're all the leftover stuff, right? They're
Right.
not all Disney. Like Monsters Inc. is going to be that would be in the Disney, right? Because they own Pixar.
Yep.
Yeah, but Dick Tracy, that wouldn't, So
Well, that's comics.
that's true. That could be comics. So that's
Yeah.
a messy
So,
one. Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
and with the movie and TV tie-ins, kind of the same thing there. Like you have your obvious stuff, anything 70s, early 80s, that's vintage. So you can can't really go wrong with that stuff. You get the right price. And then you just kind of stick with the more main characters, Batman, Superman, um, main characters from different films over the years, uh, Indiana Jones. I don't know. I'm sure there's millions of them we can think of there.
yeah.
I recently bought a ton of Dexter cards. I knew there was a new show coming out, which was really good, by the way. I don't know if you've watched it yet. Resurrection.
No, because you have to. It, according to what I have, you have to subscribe to Showtime or something to see it.
Yeah, well, I have Paramount Plus, but I have like the Good Plus or whatever.
Yeah, you got to get the upper
The
package.
Plus
I just have
Plus,
the base. Yeah.
Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I watched it and it was amazing, and lots of big names in it. Uma Thurman's in it. Peter Dinklage. Um,
Peter Dinklage, big name. I get what you did there.
yeah, huge name. Trying to think of who else. Neil Patrick Harris is in it. Like there's really good, yeah. There's really good names and stuff, and the show was really good. It started out kind of slow, and it's based in New York. I don't want to give too much away, but it's based in New York, and I'm like, I don't know, he doesn't really fit in New York, but there's a reason he's there, so you got to watch it. But anyway, I knew that show was coming up. It's got a big following. They only did the one set of cards from way back, in the Miami series, so I think that set it was Cryptozoic, yeah, no, yeah, Cryptozoic, and it was made in like 2007 or something when that show first came out. And they've been selling really well. I sell 5 or 6 of them at a crack. That's the one other thing I want to point out about non-sport cards. There's a lot of set collecting, a lot more than there is in sports these days. So, you might find a box of random Goonies cards, right, from 1985, and you go, well, this doesn't have any of the main characters on it, because there's some cards that would be obvious. That title card always sells well, checklists, whatever. But you can really buy any of the cards from the scenes from the movies and things like that, because people are trying to put all those sets together, and they just don't. You don't go to a show and find a box of, Goonies cards everywhere.
Yeah, and that's where you're gonna find all over eBay. You'll find those filler card listings for pick your card, and you pick type multi-card listings, because that's where all those base cards are.
Yeah, and I don't list them as multi-card listings, but yes, that would be a way that you could do that. For set filling type stuff. So that's, or maybe just one certain character, right? So okay, I'm just a huge fan of Data from Goonies, right? He keeps coming up. We talked about him earlier. Well, maybe you just want like all the different cards where Data's featured on it, because basically every card is a base card in a set like that. So there isn't really one to differentiate another other than maybe the character on it. And then usually the first 10 cards in the set have like a card of each major character, and those always have demand. Star Wars does it that way too. But yeah, that's the big thing. You can, if you can buy a big stack of something like that, and for a couple of bucks, and sit on them. The other thing is I get a lot more multi-card sales. It's pretty rare someone's going to come in and buy one Dexter card. They're going to buy like the 6 or 7 Dexter cards they need for their set. So, I feel like I get less money for those cards sometimes, but I sell more volume, which was kind of what that last chart showed.
Right.
Volume versus revenue. But yeah, Garbage Pail Kids has been crazy last few
Yeah.
months. I've been buying more and listing more, so that obviously ups my numbers. Um, but they just do really well. The other great part about non-sport stuff, most of it you can scan.
Yeah.
So you scan, there's no parallels or there's simple parallels to it. Garbage Pail Kids is frustrating as hell because it always gives you the wrong version. It gives you A when it's the B card or B when it's the A card. I don't know why they're so bad at it, but so you kind of have to play with those a little bit. But you got a big stack of Goonies cards. You just rip them through that scanner and upload them, and you're done.
Yeah. Now, speaking of some sets that are rising in prominence, I did go pull some names from eBay's trending now lists in non-sports trading card category. And here's some of the names that came up that you're probably familiar with. I don't have a visual for this, so I'm just going to read them off. Lorcana, Marvel
Interesting.
Masterpieces, Marvel Sketch, Pop Century, Star Wars Sketch, Wacky Packages, which has been around a
Another
long
good one.
time. Yeah.
Yep. Saw a
Uh,
lot of those.
I think this is a newcomer. I've seen a couple offerings from them in the last couple of years, but Cardsmith's Currency.
Yeah, that's a crypto product. I've bought some of those before. You can pull cards that are redeemable for little chunks of Bitcoin and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They made a really cool Dragon's Lair set a couple of
Hmm.
years ago. I bought they're kind of expensive. It was like $35 for the box, and you got like 8 cards or something. I thought it was kind of expensive for that,
Yeah.
but they've sold really well. Another one to watch out for that I buy a lot of and I really enjoy, and they sell super well, are Cybercell cards.
Okay.
So that's those. Remember the Sonic the Hedgehog ones where it's got like the little acetate window and the player pulls out of it and stuff.
Mhm.
I just sold a rare. You basically get a rare or a super rare in every pack. You get 4 cards for
Okay.
$6, $6 retail. Um, but it was a rare that I sold it for $11.50. It wasn't like a super special one or anything like that. So
Yeah.
there's just really good margin in those if you can find them. GameStop will carry them, here and there. So whenever I'm on mall duty with the kid, I'll pop in there and I'll try to buy a couple of Cybercell packs. I've bought my what did you? It's Cardsmiths, right? Cardsmith.
Yep. Cardsmith's Currency.
So they were supposed to release a Golden Girls set. By the way, I was super excited about that, and it never popped. So I don't know. Maybe hopefully that's still coming at some point. I talked to Cardsmiths when they were just setting up because they gave you a free like Bitcoin promo card or something. This is a few years before you came, Charlie, to those. And I was impressed. Like they had nice products and prices were okay. I obviously love the concept of getting, potentially getting cryptocurrency in your packs as well. Um, but the big thing with those is GameStop is going to be your spot if you want to try to find like a pack or two. If you want boxes, you can go online and stuff. But they carry more of that sort of outside the box type of items.
Yeah. And the last name on the list I didn't get to has had a big presence at the National the last couple of years, and that is V Friends.
Huh, yeah.
No?
I still don't get it. I buy some and I list them, and I haven't even sold one yet. But um, yeah, it's to me it's very generic and random, but you've got a promotion machine behind that thing,
Yes.
and Gary V will not let it die. He will go and go and go until everybody's buying V Friends. Um,
Yeah.
our friends at BB Breaks, Benji, that was his hot break for a long time. He said, I was just breaking them and breaking them and breaking them. And they were fun and we were making lots of money on it. So yeah, watch out for that. That's probably something that, if it holds up, I think they're on like series 3 or something like that now. If it holds up and people continue to buy them, you're going to start seeing some of those older sets getting more expensive.
Sure.
Um,
Well, let's talk about some of the risks and weaknesses of the non-sport market to keep in
Mhm.
mind. The first one that comes to mind for me is kind of the same for sports as well, and even TCG, and that is condition is critical, especially in the vintage stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the as far as cards go, it's the same for basically everything, right? You got condition, you got, well, how many were printed, is there hobby or not? Just because something is cool doesn't mean that there's buyers or collectors for it.
Yep.
Um, you have to evaluate all those things right off the top and then start breaking it down from there. But yeah, vintage definitely condition matters. I think it matters a little less in non-sport cards than it does sports.
Okay.
Um, I'll sell a lot of cards with creases and stuff. I mean, I sell a lot of sports cards like that too, but I feel like a lot of the set collectors, they just want a decent copy of the card. They're not going to grade them. They're not,
Yeah.
it's just a little bit different hobby base than it is with the sports cards.
Yeah.
So you can probably get away with buying some things that have a little rough edge or a little raw corner or tiny crease somewhere or something like that, and still find a relatively easily find a buyer.
Yeah. The other thing that we've talked about before is the mass-produced cards in
Yeah.
non-sport. A lot of times you get mass-produced stuff, and there's an oversupply in that base part of the set. So those really don't hold value really well.
Yeah. There isn't that much of it that's done that way, especially right now. In fact, I would love to see a lot more sets. There's tons of cool properties out there that they never make cards of, and I don't know why. Um, but yeah, I think Star Wars is probably the best example of that. There are some sets where they just print the crap out of it. I go to Costco and I see the big Costco boxes, and it's like 600 sets tall, in the store. I'm like, well, that's not good. Um, because top Star Wars or Topps Chrome Star Wars is like their big is basically their flagship product
Yeah.
because they don't do a plain tops. Um, yeah, just like anything, you're going to want to watch your supply and demand. But I would argue that for the most part, there's a lot less non-sport cards made than there are sports cards. But you have less collector base, fan base, flipper base, um, in that too. So it's not an apples for apples type of thing. You have a smaller buying base and then a smaller production run. Well, is the production run small enough to continue to hold value,
Right.
going forward? Um, I really like the Cacawal product. It's clearly small produced. Um, it's really hard to get in the US, especially now. There's really quality products, a great assortment of characters. I think the
Mhm.
price is pretty fair. I mean, we paid what, $120 for a box.
Yeah.
Got some nice cards out of that. I actually have some right in front of me. There's a nice little, what is this? Justice League, the Justice League. Speaking of comics, so you
Yeah.
have your nice Chinese, Justice League printing on the back there. They make cool foils. They do neat inserts. They do, um, like I said, good variety, of different characters, different properties.
Yep.
And so I think if we can continue to see some stuff like that, I mean, I really miss a lot of the sets that like Inkworks put out and Cryptozoic and things like that. I would love to see that come back for like just random TV shows here and there. Here's
Hmm.
this really nice foil bugs. Um, remember the poster cards?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
got
you
one
got
of those.
you got this really sweet little poster card that comes in the box. I get this whoever this superhero guy is. um, Lots of numbered stuff. This one's numbered out of 245. Just I just we need to see more of that stuff. I think the non-sport market can't really truly take off because there just isn't very many products.
Yeah.
There's always the Star Wars every year. There's always the um Marvel sets, things like that. Those are always going to be there. But what about some of the more fringy sets. You know, Kakao had like there's Gremlins, modern Gremlins cards and Elf cards, and I just pulled some. I should have kept those out. But
Wolfie Joe is talking about a risk being some of the scene cards without real significance in series, like Brandon's truck in the parking lot, and that he's absolutely right on that. Like, it's tough to move some of those cards that don't have a key character or don't have a real good image, other than someone who needs that one card to complete their set. But
right.
how many people are needing that, right? And then we talk about the production numbers. Do we need 5 million Brandon's truck in the parking lot?
No, and I think some of that comes down to if it's vintage or modern also. You know, if it's I think it kind of applies the same way it does as vintage football cards. Like I don't even care who the player is. If I can get it for 5 cents, 10 cents, I'm going to buy it cuz I'll get $2.90. Somebody will want it for their set, you know. Um Random offensive lineman player is not that much different than Brandon's truck stuck in the parking lot, right?
Yeah, I guess.
You know, if you're the one who's if that's your favorite movie, you might be like, "Oh yeah, that scene where Brandon gets stuck in the parking lot and then the guy finds him and cuts his head off." Like that might be the scene that's like your thing, you know. I don't know. But yeah, if it's like an ultra modern. Now, it's funny you say that because when I buy Star Trek cards or I buy Battlestar Galactica is a good example of this. I'm like, "Oh, you know, I want the cards of the main characters and things like that." Most of the time those are the cards that sell last. I saw like the random ship flying through space one first,
Really?
and I just listed a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff. I had George Lucas cards in there and Darth Vader cards, really nice stuff. First card I sold was a TIE fighter card, you know, a card of a ship. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's as simple as that when it comes to non-sport because there's different ways that people fan. Um, it, it's not as obvious. So like you watch a football game and you watch Patrick Mahomes and you see him on TV and he does the commercial, you know, at halftime for the insurance company and blah blah blah. That the center who snaps them the ball, you're never going to have interest in him, even though he's important, right? He snaps the ball to Patrick Mahomes, but no one cares. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, they just don't. So I feel like that is a little bit tighter, you know, on the risk side for something like that. Now, that goes back to production, though. How many cars does Patrick Mahomes have? Lots of them. How many cars does the center for the? I don't even know who the guy is, but how many cars does the center for the Chiefs have? Not very many. If you're a Chiefs fan, that might be the card you buy versus the Patrick Mahomes, and you can get it cheaper, of course. Um, but yeah, I think there's risk in anything that you buy to resell.
Yeah, for sure.
But I sell a ton of those Back to the Future cards, and a lot of them are just cards that have the car in it, right? Because people love the DeLorean. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I think Kakawa's got something going right now, and I think other companies are seeing that, and they had a big presence at the National. I think you're going to start to see some more companies that, especially because getting sports license is basically impossible now. Fanatics is going to have that forever, and they have more money than you. I don't care who you are; they have more money than you do. So you're going to have to start looking at, you know, things like Wizard of Oz, right? The sweet Dorothy card here. Or what else we got? We got Gremlins, right? We talked about Gremlins. There's a nice little Mogwai card. Here's Elf, Buddy the Elf. Buddy the Elf, right? Here's Willy Wonka. Who doesn't want a shiny card of Willy Wonka? Come on. You know, I think we need to see who's one of our hottest dealers at our show.
That
Who
would
sells out of
be
his
Costa Rica cards. Our buddy
Yeah.
Keith. Yeah.
He's got all this Kakao stuff and you know, different non-sport things, and heck, that's one of the first places we go to. So you can't tell me there isn't demand for this stuff, and that's at a sports card show. So I really want to go to a non-sport show. I think you and I have to do that. I think that's good for our business, and just to kind of see where things land with those types of dealers.
Yeah.
And to try to get a feel. And I bet there's tons of non-sport products that we're not even really aware of because we don't trip around them in boxes yet.
Yeah.
So I think that would be something to do. But yeah, yeah. Do you want? I think you're right about quantity wise. Do you want 30 copies of Brandon's truck stuck in a parking lot? Probably not.
Yeah.
But if it's a vintage, super pop culture movie and the card is 5 cents, I'll probably buy all 30 copies of it. Just like I bought all those copies of the Goonies cards and no regrets. 10 cents a piece. Yeah, I'll take all of them, and then I'm going to keep telling Charlie about it.
Yeah, you
Up
don't want me
to
to forget about that, do you?
no, that's why I like keep bringing. Goonies is my hot button. That's the first one I go to. But well, okay, so but that's a good example, right? Let's say I hadn't seen that box of Goonies cards. Would you have bought them at 10 cents a card?
Probably, but I didn't. I to this day I don't even know what was in there. I never saw all of them. So
What's funny about what was weird about it is it was like 400 cards almost, but it's only like 10 different cards from the set, and it's just multiple copies. But two of the cards, one is a main character card. It's Mama Fratelli, so I knew there would be $4 or $5 hobby per card in that. Another one is One-Eyed Willie.
okay. So I will tell you, I definitely wouldn't have bought all of them if they were just like copies of 5 or 6 cards. I would have bought probably a handful of copies of each one, because I wouldn't have been confident that I can sell 30 of those.
I mean, a sealed pack of Goonies is like $30.
Yeah.
Which you're mostly going to get base in. Obviously, the sticker cards are the heat in that product, but yeah, it was a no-brainer for me. And they sell and they sell and they sell and they sell. No, like you said, you're not going to get one buyer who wants 30 copies of it, but I don't need that.
Yeah.
As long as there's a few that sell here and there, and at my bulk price of 7-8 cents, whatever it ended up being, from Dell, I'm never going to find those. I'll never find those cards in a box again, period.
Yeah, probably
Let
not.
alone get them for 7 cents. So I just bought them all.
Yeah.
So, to each his own. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with gaming cards too. I don't always really know what I'm buying, but I'll buy them anyway if they're cheap enough. If they look cool, because I figure I'll find somebody to buy it.
Yep. So another risk to be aware of, and this one applies more to the hiring case hits and things like that. But authenticity and counterfeits are, I think some would say they're a little easier targets in non-sports. So there tends to be more of a need for grading on those bigger hits to verify the authenticity. If it seems like it's a super amazing deal, it might be worth some skepticism, because the nature of non-sports stuff is it's all over the place, right? So it just seems like it does give an opportunity for more fakes to come around.
Yeah, and there's so much obscurity in the sets.
Yeah.
Like I bought those like German cigarette pack celebrity cards. Remember that at the Green Bay show? And I did really well on them. I think I sold all of them. I kept the Bing Crosby for myself. I'm a big Bing Crosby fan. It was my grandma's favorite artist, and we used to listen to him on the records and stuff. Anyway, but I'm like, well, they look old. He had some graded, so I'm like, well, why would you have some that are real graded and then like fakes in this box here? I suppose that was possible, but the guy's a legit dealer. I've been talking to him for a few years, and so the boxes were checked enough that I was like, I'm gonna buy some of these. They look fun. I had a Greta Garbo. I had a Liv Taylor. I had like some good names. Like there were these German cigarette pack cards. I'm like, what the hell? Where did these come from? Germany, Adam. They came from Germany. But I think you're right. I think it's harder to tell, especially when you look at like key vintage series, like the old Batman, the original Batman cards and Superman cards that are fairly valuable, but They basically look like they're just on printer paper almost. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those could easily be faked. I think there's less drive for a counterfeiter to make those just because the sports cards will net you so much more money. Um, you know, the general rule of thumb is if you're going to commit a crime, make sure you go big, right? Because
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
you really want to steal $10? What does that do for you? You want to steal $50,000. Well, there's not a lot of $50,000 non-sport cards. But yeah, authentication. PSA does a good job with it. CSG. Um, they're used to doing comic books and things like that, so they should be able to tell based on the art, if cards are real and stuff. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you get anything like that, some of those early Batman, Superman cards, just like anything you got an early Mickey Mantle card, you're going to grade that. You can't trust that sucker's real.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, the last risky area that we talked about, we actually touched on a little bit when we were talking on the Stranger Things, and that is market volatility in non-sports. So what's hot today can cool pretty fast. That hot new movie release or TV show that comes out can spike a lot of interest in those categories and those characters, but just as quickly as it spikes, it can fall back down. So Stranger Things is a great example of that.
And I think that's why you see that movies and TV category it just sort of holds itself back here because there just isn't as much confidence in that. If you looked at the top five, it's what? Star Wars, Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
Disney,
Mm-hmm.
Garbage Pail Kids. Let's face it, Garbage Pail Kids it's 40 years old. That's legit.
That is, yeah.
That's
That's
time.
like buying bonds.
Yeah,
You
kind of
know exactly what you're gonna get.
like Barry Bonds. Um, but that's why you see those in the top five because people can confidently buy into them, collect them, buy them for resale, buy them to grade, things like that. Star Wars is not going to go away. Marvel is not going to go away. At this point, Garbage Pail Kids are not going to go away. It has a solid market. So I think just like anything else, you're going to want to try to stick to that's what I do with sports. I'm fairly conservative, even though it's low on cards. I buy a lot of Joe Montana and Dan Marino and Barry Sanders and Brett Favre and Steve Young and Derek Jeter. And, I you can't really go wrong with those guys. Their stuff is done. Like they're what they are is what they are. Other than maybe some other significant events in the future, passing away or committing a crime or, who knows. But as far as like their sports um, careers, that stuff's set in stone, and there's a lot of value in buying stuff like that versus the Jaden Daniels, who now I heard that he's hurt, right? Knee injury or something.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I saw that this morning on ESPN recap thing that uh, injured his knee against the Packers going down. So
Okay.
there's just too much volatility. But that's the one, now that we're talking about that, that's one advantage to non-sport cards. You can't tear an Achilles. Batman will never be injured and not be able to perform. So, you can at least have a little bit more confidence. And that's what they say. That's what these Pokemon guys say all the time. Well, you can't twist, Pikachu can't twist his ankle. Um, but there's some relevance to that, right? I mean, that's not just speaking words. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We should probably get to the chat too.
I was
We're an
just gonna
hour
say,
in.
Snappy's got a good question. He says, "Happy Wednesday. Recently picked up the infamous green border 3PO error card. Are there a lot of error cards in non-sport?"
Yeah. No, not that I'm too aware of.
Yeah.
Um, that's probably the biggest one, and it was kind of done on purpose. It was sort of a artist joke, if you will. Uh, there's a lot of like those little ticky tack errors, like you'd see in like early '90s sports cards, where it's like, oh, this has has a period at the end of the sentence, or this has the version where it has the trademark symbol instead of the C with the circle in it, things
Yep.
like that. I see that in non-sport stuff here and there. But I don't put too much focus on non-sport error cards because there just isn't a lot of that there. What you will see on uh, early vintage non-sport cards, you'll see a lot of miscuts.
Yeah, for
Stuff where
sure.
it's got like half the next card on it, or it's the whole top is missing. I love that stuff. I love miscut cards. So if you're into that kind of thing, you will see opportunities for that. I picked up a really good um, Planet of the Apes 1968 Planet of the Apes card out of a quarter box at the National, and yeah, it's like half. It's like it's so bad. I don't even know how it got there, but it's like basically half of two different cards. Like there's literally a black line down the middle, and there's half a card here and a half a card here. Um, so I feel like I see that a little more than I do in sports cards. I mean, there's plenty of miscut in sports too, but it seems a little more. There was a little bit less quality control in non-sport. There's basically 5-cent packs they were throwing in the dime store.
Yeah.
For kids who are fans of the Addams Family, might want to pick up a pack along with their Garbage Pail Kids. Everything had a card in those times, but I don't think they put a lot of support behind it. They just kind of printed them, cut them, threw them in packs, and that was the end of it.
Yep, for sure. Side note, I just sold 2 Kakawao Star Wars cards while we've been talking about it. That's always nice to see something sell in that topic while we're
My
talking about
my commission rate is 10%.
it. A Django Fett and a Clone Trooper.
There you go, a couple of clones.
There you go. Ryan says, "Go Brewers!" I like it. I like it. We should have probably started off the show with that. Odd Merchants. Odd Merchants has got some news. He says, pretty close to calling it quits on eBay. Don't list for 3 days, $30 a day, 3 days in a row. Tired of being up against a robot. He's got about 20,000 listings of all stars, rookies, and Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, dude. It's definitely a grind, and eBay wants you to play.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be present, they're going to have somebody else there. I would say so. I've heard this from other sellers too. Like, well, if you don't list, then you don't get any sales. But I think the reason that is because you don't have anything that shows up in new listings,
Yeah.
and that fires some sales. So on days where I don't list anything, I have less sales. But that's because if I compare it to a day where I listed 200 cards, I'll probably sell like 20 to 25 cards of those 200.
Mm-hmm.
I have a customer base that gets notified when I list any new cards, things like that. So if I sit idle, they kind of sit idle, right? I mean,
Yeah.
unless they're like, yeah, I wonder what the dollar box has in his store, that I haven't looked for yet. Or versus, all right, I listed 200 cards. Yeah, 20 of them sell, but they don't just buy that one card. They go buy 10 other Dan Marino cards. You know what I mean? So it really
Mm-hmm.
starts to pile on your sales. So unfortunately, yeah, if you don't list for 3 days, it's going to slow you down. I don't see, like, it's the same thing if you go on vacation, right? Everybody thinks, oh, I turn on vacation mode and they turn off my store. No, they don't. You just didn't list anything new.
Right.
That's the biggest killer in that vacation. Um, Leaving for vacation is the fact that you don't put any new inventory in there. And that's where the end listings sell similar. Oh, speaking of which, since that just came out of my face, I got confirmation from an actual eBay employee that says it does work.
Okay.
End listing sell similar does um get into a new, algorithm pool, whatever you want to call it, where that does get somewhat, I shouldn't say promoted, but there are people looking for that.
Right.
Is a better way to put it.
Now, there was a flip side to that, though, that I think they mentioned too, if I'm remembering this right, and that is it removes some type of history in your trends.
That's if you do it as a relist.
Okay.
So if you do it as a sell similar, that was what the eBay employee, stressed. was it needs to be as a cell similar so you don't lose all the whatever's piled up in the background. And it stays in like the cookies and stuff for the people who've already looked at it or watched
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah, so you do not want to relist. I don't know why you would do that anyway, but I guess the one advantage to hitting the relist button versus sell similar, like this is why somebody might want to do this, is because when you hit relist, then it just comes out of your ended listings and you're done. Versus you do it as a sell similar, now you got to go back and delete those listings. You don't list them again or try to list them again. But for that little bit of hassle, you get all the reward of reserving, preserving what that listing had
Right.
previously, and gaining the new listing look, into eBay. So
Mm-hmm. Keith All says he's got a 5-row box full of non-sport, mainly Rick and Morty and the Walking Dead cards. Now,
nice.
does it have the one Rick and Morty card that we all want now after you showed it off?
The Mr. Poopy Buttholes?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in those. The Rick and Morty cards had some cool inserts. They had some scratch and sniff ones and some cool stickers. And um, if it's the same set I'm thinking of, I think that was Cryptozoic too, by the way. The Walking Dead cards, that's a very strange card market. Very strange. I don't know how much you've looked into that, Charlie, but the Walking Dead show is huge. I loved it. I watched it for I don't know, way too many seasons. It jumped the shark. That's what's really kind of ticked everybody off. They did these little spin-offs and I just like the whole audience just went away. Which I think has made the hobby a little bit tougher on this too. But again, I think if you're getting cards with the main characters on it, Rick and Michonne and what's the little kid's name with the terrible hat?
I never watched it. I don't know.
I can't think of his name, but the Rick's kid. And obviously any of the pretty female stars, those always sell, right? But I would say like 20 different copies of different zombies that were on the show, like that's gonna be a hard time to try to find buyers. So if your 5-row box is all base Walking Dead cards, that might get rough. Might even just want to lot them up or something. I don't know if you're looking to move them, but I've sold some Walking Dead cards. They're just not. It's not instant gold by any measure.
No.
Rick and Morty stuff does much better than that. Pickle Rick stuff. Yeah, Mr. Poopy Butthole stuff does. I can't believe I have to say this all over and over again. But yeah, that wouldn't be a 5-row box to have. I wouldn't mind that, as long as it's the right price. You could easily overpay for something like that, but if you got a 5-row box for $30-$40, like that's a heck of a buy. I'd buy that. How many boxes of Rick and Morty cards have you seen at a show, Charlie?
None.
Absolutely zero. So I found a few at
boxes and that's it.
Yeah, I found some in the non-sport, the one row of non-sport he has up at Tim's Cards.
Yeah.
And there were some Rick and Morty regular cards in there and some inserts, and I bought those. And then that card game that I showed you guys a couple weeks ago on the show, that had a bunch of
I know
those Rick and Morty game cards. That was a good deal at $5 for the whole box. So, yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, that's
also bench warmer cards. Don't sleep on bench warmers.
Bench warmers.
Bench warmer cards sell.
Yeah, they do. They really do. I've had good luck with Hooters cards too that are very similar. Yeah. Wolfie Joe says he often finds non-sport at traveling antique shows. Prices are all over the place, though. Some great deals and some great ripoffs. That's what I find at antique stores and thrift stores too.
Yeah, you almost have to buy them where it's like a lot. I certainly won't want to buy individual cards that way, but Sometimes you'll find in antique stores they'll make like baggies of cards, right? And
Mhm.
if it's all decent non-sport, vintage, whatever, and it's, you know, a couple bucks a bag, you're probably do okay.
Yeah.
Um, it's yeah, if you're looking for like individual cards or something, yeah, you're gonna pay probably more than comps, more than you want, especially for flipping. Um,
There's
but
there's
but
this
again,
little
I'd say
shop on the way up north that I've stopped in a couple times, and it's just like you described. Like they have all these cards in like an old barrel, or
mhm.
like metal wash tubs, and you just gotta fish them all out there and see what's in there. And then they're never in very good condition, of course, because of the way they're keeping them.
Yep. I'd say that's probably the bigger issue for this. If you know they're asking $20 for this card, but is that a mint price? And it's this, you know, like you said, thrown in a cardboard box, you know, on a antique store shelf. You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
Now there's a little like um antique mall, if you want to call that, on Velp. You know where I'm talking
yeah.
about, Charlie.
Vintage
Um,
Wonderland, is it?
yeah, it's vintage something or other. It's right at the end of like Velp and Military, by
Yeah,
that roundabout. I went in there and I bought a bunch of like Marvel 90s Marvel insert cards and stuff like that, from a bunch of different vendors. I probably bought like $20-$30 worth of cards and got really nice prices for them. So, you know, I think it's too easy to just say, "Hey, this is always a good deal," or "Oh, hey, this is never a good deal." I think that's very dangerous language. I think you just have to look at stuff here and there, and then use your brain. You know, keep within yourself and disciplined.
and your mind.
Um, right. Um, you know, and then if you see cards somewhere, stop and look. If I saw cards in the middle of Goodwill, I would stop and look at them. Like
Yeah.
I don't see a reason not to do that. You don't have to buy them. But you know, maybe there'd be some opportunity, like that Rick and Morty card trading card game set. You know, that was in the toy aisle. You know, I wouldn't normally go down there, and it looks like a boxed, you know, board game.
Yep.
But I always look through those aisles of stuff, and you know, look at like trading card games, right? Like I'm talking like playing card decks. You know, um, and I'll look through those, and you know, if there's something really interesting, you know, I don't know. So I think you're right. I think you're going to see deals all over the place, but I'd say if you go to a card show, you're going to see that when you look around too. Some dealers are going to be way too high. Some dealers are going to have great deals, and their booth is really busy. You know, I think that's just par for the course in, you know, modern capitalism.
Speaking of card shows, there's a card show coming up pretty soon, isn't there?
I guess so. Why don't you tell us about it, Charlie? I'd like to know
I've
more.
I've heard of this great local Green Bay card show called the Goat Card Show, and that is coming up in just short of 2 weeks now. Sunday, September 28th, we are at the historic Riverside Ballroom, like always. Free kids packs. We've got a raffle benefiting a local charity, Oneida Emergency Food Pantry. We've got live breaks with BB Breaks. We've got food on site. We've got an ATM on site. Plenty of parking. Great venue all around. We've really enjoyed spending our Sundays at the Riverside Ballroom conducting our show. It's been a really great time so far, and we hope to see more of you out there on September 28th.
And this show is hot, hot, hot. We sold out really early. We keep getting more and more requests. Can I please get a table? Can you find me a table?
Yeah.
When we get into the show, lots of good buzz from, you know, potential customers and stuff too. I drop off a packs of flyers at the shops, and I go back like 3 days later and they're all gone. It's not the kind of thing you would grab and throw away. There wouldn't really be much point in doing that. So there's definitely, you know, a lot of interest in the show, and we have a good time. I think people really like it there. Location's great. It's free to park. It's free to come in. It's all on one floor, one big open space, easy to shop, plenty of bathrooms, good, high quality, cheap food, drinks if you need them. So yeah, come on and join us. Charlie and I will be doing a live show from the stage as usual.
Yeah.
Our provided entertainment will be the breaks from BB Breaks, which you can participate in, as well as just watch on the monitors, enjoy it. Watch some cool packs get ripped. And we saw a Jaden Daniels Uptown rookie
Yeah.
at the last show, so that was a lot of fun. It's free to do that. We've got the Find a Goats. You get your goat cash to spend at any table. If you locate one of the goats at one of the vendor booths. So yeah, looking forward to it as usual. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a super hot show. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the turnout's been amazing. The chats, asking for tables just keep coming in. We had a waiting list that was building, so we opened up another section of the floor that we typically keep reserved. Open that up, and we're still getting more requests. In fact, today Adam and I talked. We're giving up our tables so we can get more vendors in. So, it's a great time of year for it. Football's in full swing. Everybody's feeling, sports in this local area. Brewers are doing great. So I think that helps the market as well, at least locally for a card show, because everyone's excited about sports right now.
And it's going to be one of your last opportunities to really come out and have a nice weather show.
True.
It should be good for parking and and being out and stuff. There is football that day. The Packers do not play during the show, so that's great. We also have free packs for the kids. So if you're just looking for something to do, bring the kids. We've got some Squishmallow packs. We've got some football packs. We'll have some like random kids packs type stuff, like repacks, if you will. So come on out, get your free packs, have some fun with us, take some pictures with the goats, and we'll be happy to host you. And Charlie and I, it looks like we might have more free time in the show if we're not running tables. So I'm kind of looking forward to that because we can get around to talk to more dealers and things like that versus kind of managing our spaces. And we want to meet all of you, so be sure to stop by.
And you can see there the raffle, working with Oneida Emergency Food Pantry, is for a HaHa Clinton Dix Packers jersey and an autographed poster. So if you're an Alabama fan or you're a Packers fan, get that chance to get that jersey and that poster.
I'm a fan of the word haha.
I know, right? How can you not enjoy saying haha Clinton Dix?
I think it's amazing. And the jersey, that's a true on-field jersey too. I mean, he didn't wear it in a game. But it is the the on-field, the cut that would have been, player designed or player cut, whatever. Yeah, I guess is what you call it. Yep, so absolutely. Pretty sweet. All right, where are we? Are we
Bill
back to chat?
Simons is here and says, "What's up?"
True.
He says he's got an entire 5-row of early 90s Magic cards. Can't get any motivation to list these things.
I struggle with Magic too because I think they're boring as hell.
Well, and there's a lot to learn about them to really understand which ones have some value and which ones don't. And they're very volatile in what I've seen so far. Is they can be super, a certain card can be super hot today, but 30 days from now nobody wants it anymore. So yeah, I did a little Magic for a while, and I had some good sales out of it. Yeah. Had some good sales out of it, but it was a lot of time trying to figure out what the heck I was doing with it. That said, Bill, if you want to move a 5-row box of Magic cards, hit me up. Maybe I'll be interested.
There you go. Yeah, I think the longer you do this, you want to add new things, but you don't necessarily want to sell everything either.
Yeah.
You're not going to master anything, and that's not generally great for business either.
Yeah, that is
So
true.
if you're like, I just don't have interest in magic, I don't want to do it, it's gonna be painful work, don't do magic.
Yeah.
Like Charlie said, sell it to Charlie, he'll take the time with it, and you use that money to go buy sports cards or Goonies cards that Charlie didn't get to first, you know.
Man.
There's no second place in Goonies, Charlie. There's only first. No second place.
Pinches a Pail. Pinches a
Yeah,
Pail.
yeah.
Well, we are all caught up in the chat, my friend.
Awesome. That wasn't too bad.
So
I want to share.
You wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I want to share my screen since I'm all like fancy tech now.
Look at you.
Let's see here.
It's all grown up, everybody. All grown up.
I know, right? We'll do this one. I don't think this has any important information on it. I guess I'll turn it off if it shows up that way. But I have success on something I was told I couldn't do. It took me a while today to work with Car Dealer Pro to do this, but I thought I'd bring it up because eventually some of you might, or maybe you're already there, but I would assume most of you aren't. But if you ever get to the point where you open a second eBay store, and you're going to want to list through Car Dealer Pro and have it go to collects and whatnot and all those fancy things that Car Dealer Pro does now. I found out I could open a second Car Dealer Pro account and attach a different eBay store. I did attach the same collect store and the same whatnot store. I don't feel like I need to separate them out because those don't have quantity maximums.
Okay.
But you could do that too. You could have a separate whatnot and a separate collect. I don't know how far you want to spread yourself out that way, but I just wanted to download all my non-sport store inventory and send it to collects and whatnot also. And then of course have inventory management provided as well. And now I have a set of scans in each account. So what I did was what works for me was I took my primary account, instead of having the 2,500 scans a month, I dropped it down to the 1,100 scans a month. And then I added a rookie version. I can't remember what the plans are called. I guess I could click in here and find out. I kind of don't want to do that while it's downloading, but it's so touchy with that thing. Let's see, what do I have in here? So it's 500 scans per month.
Prospect.
And it's the prospect. So it's only $9 a month. And so that's why I did it. It made a lot of sense to me. Oh, good. It's still there. And look, some have shown up now. Neat.
There you go.
Now, so you're gonna find this really annoying, as I did with all the non-sport that I had from my other store that I moved over.
Yeah.
None of these will be listable to whatnot right away. You have to go back in and add the second category of non-sport.
See, and I don't have that problem. I list non-sport to whatnot every day.
Right. When you do it in a batch, it works. When you download it as inventory, it doesn't work.
Because your older stuff. Yeah.
So you can see here it works basically the same as what the sports did. So I downloaded them from eBay, so you can see the eBay buttons are all highlighted, and then I'll have to send them to collects and I'll have to send them to whatnot. But the reason they're red is because that category is required for listing to whatnot.
Sure.
That second category. You basically have to put non-sport as the category twice in order for it to upload to whatnot. But
that's dumb.
I agree. But it's what it takes. So I'll do it because it's to get 12,000 more listings out there is worth that bit of time. And I got pretty quick at it. But you can see up here, here's my progress bar. I started downloading my inventory from eBay like 10 minutes before the show started. I'm at 16%. So not too bad. I have a lot less inventory there than I did in my main eBay. But I kind of like the fact that I have two different logins for Car Dealer Pro, one for non-sport and one for sport. I think it'll make managing my batches a little bit easier and managing the inventory a little bit easier. So super happy that I was able to do that. The problem I was running into is when you go to connect, when you start Car Dealer Pro and you go to connect, you hit eBay, it just pulls in your eBay based on your information, and it kept grabbing my primary eBay store, the first store with the sports. So what I ended up having to do is go onto an entirely different browser, pull eBay up there, have it not just sign out of my eBay, but I had to have it log into the other eBay, because when you go back to sign in, it's gonna automatically give you your last used username to
Right.
choose to log into, and you can't have that, because if you have that, that's what Collects would grab too. So I had to actually log out and then log in to my other eBay store, and then on the other browser go back to Collects, connect my eBay store, and then it grabbed my non-sport store. And then from there, I just connected my Collect store just like I did my first one. I connected my Whatnot store just like I did my main Car Dealer Pro account, and then I'm ready to go. So basically, I just did it at the $9 price because I didn't even know if this was going to work when I started it. So I just took the 500 free listings, 7-day trial period, blah blah blah, to see if all this stuff would happen for me. Looks like it's going to be okay. So then I'll probably just upgrade it to the $20 plan. So I'll have a $20 sports plan and a $20 non-sports plan, which is basically the same price I was paying for the increased scans on the one account.
Right.
But then I'm just splitting them between one is my non-sports Car Dealer Pro account, and one is my sports Car Dealer Pro account. So that's how I did it, and I think that's going to really, really work super well. So I'm excited to get the rest of this download. It's at 18% now. And then tomorrow I'll go in and I'll add that second category. Obviously, all of these cards will need it because they're all non-sport. So 12,000 listings or so is what I'll have here. That's going to take me a bit, but I did it with the 59,000 listings and got them all moved with the other eBay store. So I'm sure that I can be efficient and get this one, downloaded and shared as well. And then any future batches you do, it's no big deal if they're scanned, because you just upload all three at one time. Okay. And like I told Charlie this week, I am going to be listing direct now to eBay on both accounts, especially with the second Car Dealer Pro. Because one of my hesitations to it was, well, if I list any non-sport, I'm going to have to download the CSV anyway, because I don't want them to go to that eBay store. Right?
Right.
With the one account. Well, now I don't have to do that. Now I can direct list to both of my eBay stores as long as I'm logged into the correct Car Dealer Pro. So that'll be the one thing I have to watch, is make sure I'm in the right one. That's why I didn't use like my logo. You'll see my logo up here is just an A. I didn't put my company logo there like I did my other one. I'm trying to keep some things here that would clue me into, oh, I'm in my non-sport Car Dealer Pro, or I'm in my sport Car Dealer Pro. Because once you hit, auto list to eBay or whatever that is, it's gone. Like, they're there. It doesn't matter what account you had connected, it's going to that eBay. So unlike the CSV, where if you download it, well, you can choose which eBay account to upload it to after that.
So you were told that you couldn't do this, and you proved that to be not true?
That is correct, Charlie.
You don't ever tell Adam something can't be done.
I don't take no shit. Oh wait, I don't take no for an answer. That's how
it's got to be your bull.
It's got to be your bull. It's got a thick candy shell. Your head has a thick candy shell.
Surprised you didn't know that.
Surprised you didn't know that.
Well, nice. Now you got your non-sports solution in place.
I do. Yeah, things are clicking. So this morning I downgraded my other account. I was out of scans anyway, so it's the perfect time to do it. So I downgraded my sports to the rookie plan, or whatever it is that the $20 plan is. I'll upgrade this one to the $20 plan once everything is really humming and I know it's gonna work long term. And then I'm ready to go. And then the next step is to probably get another scanner. I think we're getting to that point.
Yeah, so, I would agree.
So that'll be that, and then I can just choose where I want to upload everything. I can get it to all three accounts at one time. Collects has been doing good for me. Whatnot, it's been doing great for me. I have, right now, like 5 to 6 orders a day on Whatnot. It's definitely not eBay numbers, but
Yeah.
It's less fees. It's they create the label. It's pretty simple. I print the label and pull the card, and I'm done. Whatnot will the sales will explode once we can do envelope shipping with them. So weird.
Probably.
So well, not probably. It will. I mean, you drop it down to 80 cents for shipping or something like that. It's gonna be a game
It's
changer.
gonna be huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge. But if I can get $100 to $200 more a day on those two accounts, alongside of what I normally do with eBay, that's good added money. So, especially with the ease of it. Yes, this is a little bit of a pain spot right off the top here of things that I have to do to get everything over there. But going forward is just scan and list and just like we did before, but now you've got 3 places to send everything to.
Right. Well, good. I'm glad you got that sorted out.
Yeah.
I don't have the size of inventory you have, so I haven't had to really work on that. But it's good to know that there is a solution should I get to that point.
Yeah, and I that's why I said I don't know that a lot of you are even there or would even consider it. But I know it was something that was kind of a question mark. It was obviously something I needed to know an answer to. I don't expect anybody else to have dug into that because if you're not doing it, why would you? So I
Right.
just thought, well, I can give you kind of that information up front if it's something you're going to be considering or, you're at the point of doing it that, yes, you can have more than one car dealer pro, despite all of those who told me I could not do it. They were wrong.
Nice.
I won't take no for an answer. I won't take no answer. It never gets old. I
Dan?
love that line in that movie. I won't take no. No,
Yeah.
it's I won't take no answer. I won't take no for an answer. David Spade and Chris Farley, man, that was just a dream
They're
come
great
true.
together. Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable.
Dan's here tonight. He's been quiet, but he's joining us. He says there's no place but first in Goonies. Does that saying go with the Brewers being in first as well?
I don't know what you're talking about. Next question, please.
He just kind of blacks out when the Brewers come
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, who else made the playoffs tonight, Charlie?
Rumor is the Cubs, but I haven't confirmed that.
Not a rumor, it's truth.
Well, we'll see who goes further.
Yes, we will.
Russell's here. He says, are you listing on Whatnot to have a show, or are you just listing the cards in their marketplace?
Yeah, the intention is to do more shows. I do want to get to, I don't know if you looked into this, Charlie, but I actually looked at it this morning, so I might as well mention it. I want to get to the point too where I get paid instantly right away from Whatnot sales versus having to wait like the week or whatever to get the money released.
Right.
And you have to do 10 shows, which I've done 7, I think it said 6 or 7. So I definitely have to do at least 3 more to hit that measure in order to qualify for instant payout. And then you have to sell at least 1,000 items. And I think I'm at like 300 something.
Okay.
Or is it 100 items? And I'm at, no, it's gotta be more than that. I must have sold more than 100 cards. Anyway, so obviously I need to keep selling items. That's fine. That'll just happen, with having cards listed there. But I do have to do some more live shows just to hit the instant payout besides. But yeah, the goal would be to get all the inventory in there, and then I can just simply grab whatever I want from the posted Whatnot inventory, create a show, throw it into the show, and then boom, run it, be done. One thing I'm interested in, and maybe somebody else can answer this if they've tried it, but if I take the inventory, now remember, my inventory is managed by Card Dealer Pro now. So if I take a bunch of cards in my Whatnot inventory and send them to a live show and they sell, does that take it out of my inventory in Card Dealer Pro? It should, right? Sure, because they should be marked sold once you sell them in the live show, right?
Yeah, it should.
Yeah. So I haven't tested that yet. I don't know if anybody else has. In my head, that works, but not everything is working there yet either. It's still beta. So I know some cards don't come down. I had the same problem you did, Charlie. You were mentioning the other day where it just sat in like pending listings and whatnot. I had like a whole rack of stuff that I had scanned in that just sat there as like, it didn't say pending listing. What did they call it?
Inactive.
Inactive. And I went in and I hit active and boom, they were active and it was done. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. And that's gone away now too. Just randomly it stopped doing that. Now they're back to going in active.
Yeah, and that's just it. I'd had other batches and they were fine. It was just this one that went inactive. So I don't know if it's like your connection isn't quite right, so it just doesn't go right away. I don't know what the deal is, but you want to check your inactive and whatnot from time to time to see if you got, random listings just hanging out there ready to get activated. But yeah, the intent, to answer your actual question, Russell, the intention is to run more live shows. I wanted an easier way to feed the information into the live show, so I'm not taking more photos and listing more stuff. Kind of I don't like to do stuff twice. It seems like a big waste of time, especially to sell it live and get less money for it. But it'll allow me to curate something pretty easily too. Because let's say I want to do a live Goonies show, Charlie. Right? You could do that if you actually had Goonies cards.
True.
So I would do a live Goonies show, and I could just simply search all my Goonie inventory and be like, add that to the live show, add that to the live show. Boom, run it, sell them, ship them, done. Like, it's going to be super, super easy. So a little bit of work now on this front end, getting everything downloaded, getting the non-sport in it all, so it all lists and whatnot, making sure they're all active there. But then I'm good. Then any new batches just automatically go on those 3 platforms. And then I can just create any live show I want after that.
There you go. All right. Up next is here. Something I've had an issue with on CDP. I imported my eBay inventory, but it doesn't show any of it as listed in my inventory on eBay, even though that's where they came from.
I haven't had that problem. I just showed you my screen and you could see the eBay light was on, for the stuff that has downloaded so far. Yeah, it should automatically say it was listed in eBay because you imported it from eBay. I don't know how that wouldn't. I know if you do a batch and you do a CSV and you upload it to eBay through a Car Dealer Pro, it's not going to show it's listed on eBay then, right? Because you didn't, direct list it.
Right.
But anything you download would automatically be listed with eBay because that's where you got it from. So that might be something you want to shoot a message to their IT guys on, because I haven't seen that at all. It doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that either.
The only thing I can think of is you accidentally disconnected your eBay account now. If you did that, it won't show eBay inventory then. That's about the only thing I could think of. But that would be weird. That would take you effort to disconnect it.
I don't know how you would accidentally do it.
I'm just saying, that's the only thing in my head. That's the only way I would disconnect it.
Yeah.
But Car Dealer Pro is helpful. Reach out to them, ask them. By the way, real quick, shout out to David who helped me today. He was my, since I opened a new Car Dealer Pro account, I got thrown a Car Dealer Pro liaison or whatever you call them. And he reached out to me right away and he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I have 70,000 listings and 2 stores. He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, that's crazy. And he's like, I can't help you.
Are you trying to crash our system?
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm trying to create a second car dealer. He's like, why do you need a second Car Dealer Pro? Well, this is why. And it's only this many listings you can. He's like, this all makes sense. He's like, I have no idea how to help you, but it all makes sense. So, but it was awesome. He went back and talked to some engineers there and some, people who know internet-y type stuff. In the background. Yeah, that's the official word for it. And got some information from them. He reached back out to me and said, hey, this is what they told me. Try some separate browsers and, log into a different eBay. Kind of gave me some guidance. It's kind of what I figured I would need to do, but it was nice to have that come from that source too. And then sure enough, I tried it right away when I was able to, and boom, everything connected up. I'm just fine. That was a stupid cough now.
Yeah, what's up with that? Actually, I think it's going around in the office lately.
Yeah.
just hear
I've had it for a
everybody.
couple of days. It's weird. I feel like I kind of got a cold, but I don't really have a cold. And then
Yeah,
I lay down at night and it's like cough, 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 then tickle, cough, cough, cough.
yeah.
And it's it's unfun.
Russell wants to know, is there a way to adjust the on-hand quantity on CDP? Yes, I believe there is
Uh
in your
no,
inventory.
I don't think so.
But then you have to publish the change, I believe.
You would have to re-upload it to whatever platforms you wanted to change the
Yeah,
quantity in, right?
yeah.
Yeah, because when
So
you
you can
go,
do it on eBay. I don't know if the other platforms will take it.
I don't even know if you can do that in eBay, to be honest with you. Because you can't change the on-hand number. So like here, I'll go here, let me share this. So if I'll go back to my Car Dealer Pro screen here. Now these are, obviously things that I just downloaded from eBay. If I go on here and go to the on hand, there's no way to edit it.
Um,
Unless you go here. This just gives me the list option. It doesn't give me an option to publish changes to eBay.
yeah.
You can do, but you can't change the on hand number.
I thought you could. I thought I
I
did.
don't see a way to do it. I mean, I could be wrong. I haven't really tried to do it. I basically got to the point where I'm just going to list everything singly now. It's just easier.
That's what I've been doing too.
And I sell so many cards in so many locations now that I can't keep up with the listings anyway. So I'm not getting these big jumps of numbers and listings. Like my sports listings, I might list 150 cards in a day, between that and then another 150 in non-sport and, everything else I got going on. And then I might sell like 200, so I end up negative in most of the cases. It's hard for me to stay over 59,000, which is a good problem to have. But so I just list it all as a single, and people will buy multiple cards through different single listings anyway. But yeah, I have no way to edit any of this. So I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah,
Do you have to
I
list on the individual item itself? Like maybe I could click on
yeah.
this.
But even there in inventory, it just says single item. It doesn't let
Yeah,
me edit it. Let me look at the
that's
listing side
That's what I
quick.
thought. I don't think you can list. I don't think you can change the quantity.
I thought you
Huh. You
could.
can you can report your profit and your margins though. That's interesting.
Yeah. There it is. Triple threat.
See
299.
right here where it says category and it's pink or red, whatever you want to call it. That's what you also have to change to non-sport. Um, well, it's supposed to change to non-sport. There we go. And then once you have these both as non-sport, now it'll allow you to list it to whatnot. So I have to do that with every one of these listings.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you can do it in your listings view either. So, yeah, I stand corrected. It looks like that is a limitation yet.
Yeah,
But
pretty sure it's something you can't do.
there are a lot of things that are still in development though.
Yep.
Um, as we know, we've had some bumpy days with Car Dealer Pro as they've been implementing changes and getting all the new features in. They continue to build on the platform, and as Adam found today, they have a good feedback mechanism. I know I've worked with a few people there as well on some things. So they're in no way are they done with the platform yet. So those are things that I believe are still on their radar to get added.
And even the download has improved quite a bit. Like I just started this a couple hours ago. I'm at 1,941 items already downloaded. I'm at 20%. Seems pretty consistent. Anytime I refresh the page, like I just refreshed it and all these Star Wars listings are there.
Yeah.
It gets updated and yeah, so it feels like they're getting through stuff a little bit better, but and that was one of the reasons I was going to hold off on opening the second Car Dealer Pro because I'm like, well, maybe they'll figure it out and they'll be able to add a second connection to a different eBay store. But I'm like, that's going to be a big project on their part. Like they'll have to change all these logos because you'll have to choose which store and you can't just
Mm-hmm.
hit direct to eBay because who knows which store it would go to. So they'd have to have a separate, upload button created and stuff to do that. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just spend the same amount of money and have two accounts. Yes, I get a few less scans because each program you go up, you get like some bonus scans, if you will.
Yeah.
But it was worth it to me to split this and to be able to do the non-sport stuff. I have 12,000 listings I need to get on those other platforms. That this was the right move for me. And eventually if I'm like, everything can go into two stores and one login, something like that. Sure. Maybe eventually I'll just cancel this account, download them all over on the other one and be, run my inventory in that one Car Dealer Pro. But I think there's some advantage when it's two separate stores to just manage them separately as well. So that's why I decided to actually do it.
Okay.
So instead of 2,500 listings I was getting, just to give you, real numbers here, instead of 2,500 listings for the $40 I was spending a month on the one Car Dealer Pro account that I had, I now get 2,200 listings per month between the two accounts for the same price, $40. So I essentially lose 300 scans a month by doing it through two different accounts. But for all of the reasons I stated earlier, that's why it's worth it to me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense when I think about it. And what you've got in your situation, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. And I get free scans all the time anyway. Like they'll throw me some. I do an affiliate with them and people use my code, so I'll get a little bit of affiliate money from them. So I get some kickback on occasion as it is. So I feel like I still get added value even if I'm just getting the regular 1,100 scans per account.
All right. Well, Snappy says dollar box rule number 27. Adam won't take no for an answer, but he will take yo for an answer. But he will say no if you yo 3 times.
He's got it down. This dude's smart. You've been paying attention week after week. You're always here. We super appreciate you. And you laid it out completely accurate. That is actually Adam's rule number 27. That is correct.
Yeah, we haven't seen Boom Slang tonight. He usually likes to test that rule.
Yes, yeah, that I usually get a yo from somebody, and yeah, you can't do that. You gotta that third yo is mine. You can go anywhere. You can do 4 yos. Like if you really want to get into it, yo, do that. That's cool. But 3 yos, that's all me. That's dollar box.
He also says, love the brown bag reveal on Discord, Charlie. Yeah. So from the Green Bay Card Show, I brought home 4 lunch bags of cards, I think it was. And I didn't release any YouTube content on it. I actually did the pickups video just for our Discord. So
I saw that
private video and posted it out there just for the Discord folks. I didn't do any, editing really per se, other than I guess the basketball buzzer I had in it made a few people go change their pants. So
yeah, that one's obnoxious. So let's put our banner back up there because this is a good time to advertise our Discord, which is free to join. And apparently we're going to put exclusive content on there now, which is a great idea. I never thought of that before. But there's a little tag at the bottom here with the Discord. Here, I can get off my shared screen too. Make sure you join up for that. It's like I said, it's free. There's lots of great information on there. We've got a good assortment of channels. You can find everything from where's a good spot to buy supplies to, changes at eBay to Car Dealer Pro tech questions. There's all kinds of good stuff in there. Show off, what you bought, show off stuff you sold. It's just a great community and we want you all there. We want you all in this chat too. But we want to have a home for you when we're not doing the chat on Wednesdays. Yeah. By the way, the chat every Wednesday, 8:00 Central Standard Time. So if you're watching this live and participating in chat, we appreciate you. Watching it recorded, try to join us live. It's a lot more fun. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. and ring the bell to be notified, because then when we actually go live, which is never 8 o'clock, by the way, you'll get a notification that says, "Hey, it's 8:09. It's time for Adam's 8 o'clock show," because that's what
There you
happens
go.
at 8:09. So go ahead and do that, and then join that free Discord, and get in on some of the chats there and provide your own experiences.
And you know what? While you're at it, why don't you drop a comment down below about what is one of your favorite non-sports sets? Adam will post the show right after the show, and it's good to get a conversation going out there on the posted video as well of kind of what is your favorite non-sports set, or what sets have you had a lot of success with?
I'll tell you what I'd like to know even more. What is some shows you would love to see a set of cards made for
There you go.
that doesn't exist? Because I can think of a ton of them. So yeah, I think that would be really interesting to see what people would come up with. Like, think about shows that are out now. Like Wednesday would be a great card card
Yeah.
set to create. There's such great characters on that show. K-pop Demon Hunters, right? We've all been hearing enough K-pop.
Yes.
But there's a lot of good, shows, and I mean, heck, there's a card of like YouTube content creators. Like, what? We don't need that. We still don't have cards of Ghostbusters 3. Like, that's insane. Like,
Yeah.
put this stuff out there, people. Make some cool cards, and I'm in. I'll buy, whatever you got out there if it's cool and the properties, got some hobby. Why not? Let's do it.
Yep, for sure. Dan says, letting up next CCM know that he had the same issue, had to contact support, and they can reset the inventory. And he's got a tip: don't delete the inventory yourself.
Yeah, I don't do that. I have done it on like Whatnot and Collects, because sometimes I'll get a sale and it won't come off of one of those platforms, and I just delete it because it's easier there. But yeah, in the manager, I don't. I would either mark it, active, inactive, sold, whatever, and leave it there. Okay. It's a good tip.
Joe is here, or as I like to call him, Jay-Z. What up, boys?
What's up?
He says, come on, guys, give these guys a like and hit that thumbs up button. He's our hype man, folks. Joe's always here hyping for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, boy. Dude, getting to see Flavor Flav live like 5 feet away from me, that's one of the highlights of my life. It was amazing.
Crazy, right?
And he came on, he hyped, man. He was, when I say, what did he say? I can't even remember what it was, but when I say blah, you say blah. And he did it, and we did that like 10 times, and it was awesome. It was like my, rebellious teenage, mind went nuts, because Public Enemy was so important back in the day.
Yeah.
Heck, they're important today. Like, we need some more of that today, I suppose, too. But
oh boy, yeah.
But yeah, Flavor Flav, he had the giant clock, and like, it was dope. He had like a jean jacket on, but it was like covered in diamonds or something. It was he's just Flavor. He was awesome.
Well, that catches us up in the chat, and I think we got through our topics for the day. How about that?
Love it. This was almost like a well-coordinated show. We both did like successful screen shares and no crashes. Everything's we're almost getting good at this, Charlie. Is it time to quit?
Hey, calm down. Calm down.
I'll quit when the Brewers win a World Series.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. I'll be in the grave someday before this show ends.
Wow.
For sure.
That's a pretty bold statement there, Cotton.
Is it bold? I mean, after how many they've won?
So they're due. All I hear you saying is they're due.
It's funny. The other day I was telling a Brewer fan that I'm like, oh, how many World Series have they won? And they're like, just one less than the Cubs. And I'm like, really?
True.
True. No, that's lame.
That is
first of all, it's two less. The Cubs have won 2.
Yeah,
But
that is
yeah, yeah. So I don't know.
how many
I was
this
like
century?
1.
Oh, okay. So
How many
just
of the
one
Brewers
last
have this century?
century.
Like you can't have argument with somebody when you have none. Like you have 0, none. Not one appearance. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But I do believe they're good enough to get that far should they stay hot enough to do it. But that's how it always goes in baseball.
Yeah.
If
They
they run
certainly have
into
become the darlings of the season.
yeah, but I mean if they catch the Dodgers and the Dodgers are in a hot streak, like they could get smoked in 4 games, like any team can.
Yeah.
So it's all about I mean, yeah, it's great to do well in the regular season and lock in your playoff and some home field and things, but you still got to have heat at the time when that part of the season comes around. It's
That
harder
would
to
be
do than it sounds.
in the first round of the playoffs when they're like, I think we should line it up to be just like the season opener in Japan, and we'll have the Dodgers and the Cubs again.
And that might be the case. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else we got for today?
No, it's nap time.
Nap time, yeah.
Nap time.
I'm like the little boy in Jerry Maguire. I hear my mom. It's time to go to bed.
Yeah. The lights on in the street. Come home.
I gotta go to bed. My mom's coming.
I didn't yawn at all tonight though, so
You
I get points
didn't.
for that. I
Because
get
we were
points for
talking
that.
non-sports, and you get all geeked about that.
I do. Well, sometimes it's hard to come up with topics because every week, like, what do we do that's different each week? I mean, there's always a little something, but I was like, you know what? We haven't really done a good non-sport presentation, to kind of show like, I don't want to give away all my honeys, but I think just looking up, the top sellers that's basic public knowledge anyway, and then just kind of say like, well, this is sort of what I look for when I look for this stuff.
Yeah.
Take those tips. If you get through a box of non-sports stuff, try to apply it and try to get yourself some good stuff and put it out there. I'll say, just like in sports, sometimes the weirdest stuff is the stuff that sells first. So you can't judge it all based on, well, this is Luke Skywalker, the star of Star Wars. This is it. Like Salacious Crumb, you might want to look. Wampa cards sell really well. There's these little fringy characters that have hobby, and you gotta kind of do your homework to get to some of that stuff.
Yep. You do.
All right. Anything else from you? You got?
Just remember, when you see the goat, we're talking about some of the greatest of all time.
And you can't sell what you don't list, and that includes to other platforms. So get on board, get your stuff out there, get some sales, and we'll see y'all next week, 8:00 Central Standard Time.